as I'm just sitting here Sunday afternoon, puffing on a pipe, corncob pipe, and reading a book. People are mowing the lawn somewhere. Of course, when you live in suburbia, there's always gas-powered engines somewhere, right? Nobody can disrupt your peace unless you let them. And I was having this conversation with somebody recently. One of the reasons why I have peace is because I separated myself from certain people, certain ideologies that are just always offended, always aggressive, always on the offensive about something. Like, I'll give you an example. Feminism. I can't stand feminism. But let me ask you this. How is feminism affecting me right now? Now, right here. I'm out here in the Van Gogh room, smoking a pipe. Reading a book. It's peaceful. This video is going to be seen by thousands of people all over the world. How is feminism affecting me right now? Right now. This minute. As I put this pipe in my mouth and take a puff, how is it affecting me right now? It's not. Unless I let it. Does that mean I don't think it's a threat? No. Does that mean that I don't think it's dangerous to my children, my grandchildren? No. I'm choosing not to let it bother me right now. Over 30 years ago, I was introduced to the Stoic philosophers, and the very first statement that I ever heard, well, actually, it was over 30 years ago. I remember I had a roommate. There was 5 of us guys that rented out a house, and we all went to college together, and we're all in graduate school together. At that time, it was Westminster Theological Seminary. I ended up leaving there after a year, and I went to Westchester University to work on my master's in education, which is what my master's is in, education with a concentration in counseling. So I'm a trained teacher. I'm a trained educator. That's why if I'm not a psychologist, I'm not looking for reasons in the past why you are the way you are, although it does have an effect on us. I would rather educate people on how to have a positive life rather than looking at, someone shamed you when you were 5, or the dog peed on your leg when you were 3, or I don't know, just like pick an excuse. Pick an excuse, okay? It doesn't affect you right now unless you let it. That statement was by Epictetus that actually changed the way that I view life, believe it or not. And I was a solid Christian man at the time. Since then, I became not so solid, but I'm returning to my solid foundation. And I did not have the guidance to go in that direction. I had to find it myself with God's help, because I do believe that there's nothing within me that seeks after God. It's just not part of my nature. It's not part of human nature to seek after God. God puts it in us to seek Him. I do believe that. But here's the statement from Epictetus, great Stoic philosopher. He said, "Men are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about those things." Think about that. Men are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about those things. I was probably in my mid to late 20s when a roommate went to a yard sale or something like that, and he came home with 2 Greek statue busts. And I said, and he put them on his bookshelf, these 2 Greek statues. And I said, "Now who are they?" I don't think he knew, but he said, That's Epictetus, and that's Marcus Aurelius. And I said, all right, well, tell me about them. And he told me. And he is a PhD level psychologist now. Very learned, accomplished man with a bunch of kids, still has the same wife. And it started something in me. And well, tell me about these guys. Tell me about them. And he started sharing some of that stuff with me. And I wrote down a quote, the Epictetus quote. Men are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about those things. Feminism is not affecting me right now. My opinion about it would affect me. I am not going to get riled up because of the injustices and the bullshit in this world. When I am puffing on a pipe and reading a book and by myself, I'm a peaceful guy. And sometimes you got to escape the rest of the world. Peace and quiet. That's why I love just coming out into a shed or a garage, a back deck, disappearing in the woods somewhere, just sitting on a beach, puffing on a pipe. I'm not letting things in my head. There's a lot of people who claim to be victims when they really are volunteers. Huge difference. And I know it's going to offend a lot of people. I will tell you this, though. Nothing is going to bother you unless you let it. Buddhism, which I think is most of it's a bunch of bullshit, but there are a few things that are said in Buddhism that I can appreciate. One of those things is attachment is the root of all suffering. The more attached you are to things and people, the higher probability there will be that you get offended, hurt, suffer, get affected, lose sleep, walk around jammed up all the time, just being offended at everything and just lashing out at people and all that. And I find that as I have detached from people and ideologies, I have more peace. The people around me say that. They go, gosh, you're just like, I guess the proper word, modern word would be, people say to me, you're so chill. There is awareness of shit in the world. There's concern about stuff. And then there's worry, which is, you're worried about stuff. And then the ultimate in that whole hierarchy of bullshit is acting on your worry and creating a following of worried people, concerned people. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. Keep your worry to yourself. Keep your concerns to yourself. Okay? You're not going to save the fucking world. Save yourself. Being worried about things is a choice. That's like being a victim. You're volunteering to be victimized. I will never forget Thomas Paine, and I questioned the authorship of Thomas Paine. Being in jail for civil disobedience is great, allegedly his great essay on civil disobedience, feeling as he's looking out of the jail cell, looking through bars at people on the street, of him saying he feels more free where he is than the people who are out walking outside. Isn't that crazy? How can a person be surrounded with shit in their life, friends or relatives or the bullshit people? How can a person have peace? It is a decision. It's a decision. One of my most popular videos was how to cut ties with toxic friends and family. And I'm not saying I have toxic friends and family. What I am saying is that there's a time and place to kind of cut things off or reduce, turn down the volume of people in your life. So as I sit out here on a Sunday, smoking a pipe, reading a book, drinking some ice water, Excuse me a second. I'm kind of like Alfred E. Newman. What? Me worry? That's kind of like how I live life. Men are not disturbed by things, but by their opinions about those things. Am I denying that there's hurtful events? No, not at all. Am I denying that death hurts? Not at all. Am I denying that there is such a thing as grief and suffering? Not denying that at all. Am I denying the fact that divorce fucking hurts? No, not denying that. I've heard someone say, I don't even know where the origin of the statement is. Pain is inevitable. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is voluntary. The first time I heard that, I thought to it actually got the gears turning in my head when I thought to myself, most of the shit that happened in my life that is considered negative, the shitty stuff, it hurt. But when I continue to let it hurt, it's on me. It's on me. It's voluntary. Why don't I voluntarily choose joy instead of suffering and pain? Because you don't get attention. You don't get attention when you're joyful. You get attention when you're suffering and when you're in pain and when you hurt. And you get the rescue people in your life who want to help you and rescue you. No more rescuing people, okay? No more rescuing, okay? Guys, no more white knight bullshit. No rescuing women. Stop it. Enough of that. This is what I want you to do. If you don't already puff your problems away, many of you already know what I'm talking about. It's like that one meme that shows a pipe and the smoke coming out of the pipe. And it's like, if your pipe could talk, it would say, for Pete's sake, stop worrying. I like that. That really spoke to me. But there's not a damn thing in the world that can upset me right now. Not a thing. If you are not rooted and grounded in peace, which I believe comes from Christ, everything that comes down the pike can knock you off your game. Everything. Phone calls, the news, conspiracies. There is no bigger conspiracy theorist than me. I just can't talk about it anymore because it raises my blood pressure. And what do? I get a following of conspiracy theorists who don't act. They only are in a constant state of panic all the time. And I had to kind of like distance myself from that because I don't want to live with my cortisol levels high. That whole stress, the stress effect. I am convinced that stress kills a person just like a bad diet, processed foods, or being in a shitty relationship, or just having shitty things happen to you. Stress is a killer, absolute killer. That's why I get alone and puff on a pipe and read. This actually should be Beards Without Borders. Let me rewind it 17 minutes. Welcome to another edition of Beards Without Borders. Right? That's actually how Beards Without Borders started. It was me talking about peace 6 years ago. And the whole concept of having peace, regardless of what's happening around you, really intrigued a lot of people. It became one of my most popular series, Beards Without Borders. Why? Because peace is a commodity, just like gold and silver and platinum. Do whatever you can to achieve peace. I believe that peace comes through the peace of Christ. My belief. I haven't always lived it, but I always understood it to be true. And I don't want to fucking wage war on anybody or anything. I'm done with that bullshit. I want to make money, become increasingly wealthy, be loving to people. If someone's going to accuse me of anything, let it be of being a loving person. Am I living with my head in the clouds? No. I'm purposely choosing to be peaceful. I'm not oblivious to what the hell's going on in the world. Not interested in it. And I'm not wishing the world was something that it's not. I know there's many things that suck in this world and in this society and in this culture. I know there's a lot of things that suck. I'm just choosing not to focus on them.